Book 1, Bazur's Plot, Chapter 35, The Puddlejump Hollow Village Way. I had been sitting on the ground drinking my nectar and I stood up. Well, shall we continue? I see that we have about 20 houses. The idea is that then we take the carriage back to the palace for lunch, right? Tora looked past me. Yes, that would be a good time. So every one of us got up and I started to walk on my left-hand side houses and others. Jack went to the right side. Everyone was quiet. The rest of the village was quite uneventful, thankfully. There were some of the houses with one or two creatures found, but we kept filling one carriage at the time until it was full of creatures to send it to castle. So I say uneventful, but regarding earlier events, this was uneventful. I said to Tara, "It seems that this village has a lot of cursed ones." Tara nodded. "Yes, we did expect that. Bazur has favored this village since it is in the third woods. So I guess he feels good poking things so close to White Goddess Palace." That sounded disgusting to me, but it did fit what I had earlier heard from Bazur. The evil wizard gave a nice description of him clearly by his actions. We continued checking of the houses, uncoursing, reviving, helping the awakened ones to the carriage, and sending them off once the carriage was full enough. Finally, after a couple hours, we arrived to the end of the village. That was a job, massive job, I thought. Tora said, "The road goes from here to White Goddess Palace, so we can go there and then we do not need to come back this way. On the other side of the palace, we have two villages, but they are much smaller than this." I looked a road ahead, and which was more like a wide trail. I felt that should be checked too. I asked, "Shouldn't we check the road to the palace too, or this trail? Can we ask the carriages to go very slow so we can scan both sides?" Tara and Tora looked at each other and said, and then others. Tara said, "I assume so. We just ask the carriage to go walking speed, and then if needed to stop, we say stop. I think it will work." We just sent third carriage to the palace, and we had two left. Jack said, "If we continue so that you keep the left and I do right, just like now, then we switch after the lunch." I looked at him and said, laughing, "I'm not sure I'm able to switch anymore. I'm so used to looking at the left now." Everyone laughed. It had been such a tough morning and we really needed to laugh. It was also a little later than we normally ate lunch right now, but none of us wanted to stop before the whole village was checked. So we powered through. Tara said, "Well, ladies, on board then, and let's see what we can find on the left side. Guys, you need to follow us since we cannot go side by side here. This is too narrow for that." Tom replied, "That's fine. Guys, let's go. Jack, do you want to sit here on the right side so you have the best view? I sit here on the left side where I can reach to tap the carriage side if that is how one asks these things to stop too." Sylvester nodded. "I take then the right side in our carriage and I can reach to the side from the seat like Tom." Everyone jumped on board and Tom and Sylvester did manage to give guides for the carriages, and we progressed slowly toward the palace and lunch. There were a few creatures here and there that took probably another hour to make our way to the palace. It seemed that in different times Bazur had cursed either side of the road, one or two creatures at the time. Carriages started to be a little full, even though they did expand nicely, I must say. We had fairies, different elf tribes, clearly. Many of the creatures we had never seen, and I couldn't name, I can't name them right now. I have no even clue where they're actually, what weather, how to describe them. We were just helping two tiny dressed elf couple into the carriage and trying to see if we still fit in there. Jack called us and said, "We just managed to get this family of 4 to the carriage. They were small enough so they still fitted. Do you have any space left?" Dora called back, "No, we are so full that I don't think we fit in." Dora called back, "Same here. Well, Tom is barely hanging in his seat there, but anyway, the rest of us, we are not fitting." We heard noise behind us, and I saw Unicorn Frostmane and 2 others coming to check where we were. Frostmane spoke. "It's getting late for lunch. We are getting worried." He saw full carriages and said, "Wow, these are all from the road to Puddlejump Hollow?" Tara was the closest to Frostmane and replied, "Yes, Sarah wanted to check the road when coming, since we know Bazur has made those attacks multiple different times." "It was a good thing to check," Frostmane said. "The palace road starts on the other side of that hill behind us on the right. So I think we have about 20 meters or so left to check, and then we turn to the palace. I propose that we send the carriages and you, Elf, also let go, since you seem not to be able to stay there anyway. I call in 2 more unicorns and you can ride us back." Dora and Tara and Elves went pale. Dora asked in a very quiet voice, "Really? Do you think that is okay for you?" Frostmane laughed. "Yes, us unicorns do not allow anyone to ride us. But this rescue team is different, since you are saving lives and we don't mind you specifically riding us." Tara said to me and Jack, "Yes, nobody ever is allowed to ride a unicorn." Jack and I looked at each other. I did not know what to say to this. I just bowed to make sure I was showing respect. I felt everyone else was following my example. There were just no words. All underground medical elves got out of the carriages. Well, they were not really in the carriages anymore, except Tom trying to. Tom and Sylvester sent the carriages on the way. Tara and Dora got on the Frostmane. Me and Jack had our own unicorns, and 2 unicorns just arrived when the carriages were taken. When the carriages were sent, were taking the medical elves. They got up in the pairs, Sylvester and Tom into another one, and Eloven and Tim. I asked, "Can we still go at walking speed until we turn to the palace road? And if I may ask, could I be on the left side of the road or trail? What is this? And Jack on the right side? We want to just make sure that there's nobody left behind." Unicorns nodded their heads and moved into formation. Thankfully, the rest of the way was less eventful. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Frostmane asked. "All done?" Jack replied. "Yes, nothing. We get no living marks." Frostmane replied. "Let's go then eat." And he started to run fast, turning to the road to the palace. It was like a picturesque English road with trees reaching from one side to another, forming a natural archway over the road. The forest ended and beautiful clearing formed in front of our eyes. It was a huge clearing for gatherings, I assume, with all kinds of different twines and trees forming benches to be sitting on. All were very low, like in a park or something. And there were a lot of flowers and the smell was amazing. It was amazing looking forest garden. We kept riding towards white building on the other side. It looked like it was shining to us in the sunlight. It was so white that it almost mirrored the sun back to us. It did not look big, and yet it was a big building. It looked like it was having a couple stories up, maybe, and it stretched different directions of the ground. It was impossible to see other than just a hint how grand it was. All kinds of flowers were blooming against the white walls, and the palace creating a cheerful and happy combination. Unicorns rode straight to what looked like to be the front door. They stopped right in front of it and let us down. Frontman said, "Go to the great hall. White Goddess is waiting for you."